What is Rogue Angels? It's a cooperative game. It's a 1 to 4 player game. It's a story-based game. It's a game where you go through this grand campaign playing legacy components where your heroes are going to live. Your heroes are going to grow. Your heroes may even die. But all this is going to go together and make this great game. But what exactly is Rogue Angels the game? Well, come on back after the break. Hey everybody, welcome to the show Board Game Reviews. This is a YouTube channel dedicated to the tabletop gaming hobby, and this video is part of a video series looking at the game of Rogue Angels. Now this is 100% a prototype of a game that's coming to Kickstarter in early February, so all the components you see right here are in early prototype status. A lot of things you're seeing right here, while some of the more advanced art, the components themselves are not the final components. Matter of fact, just to give you a really rough idea of what we're looking at here, this map alone right here is a rough example of what the final maps are going to look like, because this game is taking inspiration from lots of classic, if you are an RPG player, you understand the concept of the tabletop maps that come with the spiral bound book, where you're going to open up the book and each individual page is going to form together to create this map for you. Or if you're a board gamer and you played Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. You're going to open up the book and that's going to be one of your various maps. This game is going to come with multiple maps and everything. But I just want to press upon you, before you go anywhere, understand this is 100% prototypes. I'm going to be throwing up a whole bunch of images during this video and during the review video to show you exactly what the final components are anticipated to look like. Now what Rogue Angels is if you take Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion, combine it with Role Player Adventures, and imagine if that had a kid and they sent that kid off to Mass Effect School of Cool, and you have a rough idea exactly what this game is. Because this is a cooperative 1 to 4 player space-themed dungeon crawler where the players can go through this grand campaign. And when I mean grand campaign, I mean a grand campaign, because you're going to go through at least 40 adventures out of 70 or more adventures, and your decisions are going to matter. You're going to be exploring through various spaceships, various different derelicts. Your decisions are going to matter as you raise faction with different societies, different people, and you're going to do various different things, and you're going to grow your hero. Your hero is going to gain experience. Things are going to happen with your hero. Your hero is going to evolve, get new abilities, and the interesting and very cool thing is you get to choose how to evolve your hero. You're not going to get a hero who's going to live up from level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, given this ability, that ability, and that ability. No, in this game, you get to evolve your hero, because this game is a deck construction style game, card game, where in this game every single player has a hand of cards. Now Rogue Angel uses card-driven mechanics, and the cool thing about the game is every single player is going to have a hand of cards, and all these cards are going to be unique to every one of these heroes. Now all these heroes have their own special powers, their own abilities, and they're going to fit basically their own kind of type. You have your more sniper style, your more tanky style character, your range type character. You got the basic idea, but they do fit the very good standard space-themed tropes. But in this game, you're going to have an open hand of cards, and the cards you have are going to be, some are going to be standard power, some are going to have a little bit more powerful, and some are going to be a lot more power, and they're all going to be based on the track that's going to be bottom of every one of these hero boards. Now this is the really cool thing about the game and the awesome mechanic about the game. Every time you play a card, it's going to go in one of these time slots down below based on the number on the card. That's basically affiliated with the power of the card. Your really weak cards have a 0 timer cost on, which means that the moment you play them, they get to go right back into your hand, and you can basically use them again, because we get 2 actions every single turn. But your more powerful cards may have a timer of 4 on them, which means that they're not going to come back in your hand until they manage to go down. And the way they go down this track is by taking rest actions, or at the end of your turn, these cards are going to slowly move down the track. Here's a really cool thing about the game when it comes to combat and how damage is going to occur in this game, because this isn't going to be a game about random dice rolls where you're going to be rolling dice and hey, something may have happened to you. No, it's going to be all about the card play. And while there are dice in this game, the cool thing about the dice in this game is they're always positive. Dice in this game always make you a little bit more powerful, so you're never struggling to roll the dice going, oh my god, the dice going to hurt me. The dice are always going to help you, but how they're going to help you is going to change your strategy and how you play these cards just a little bit. But compound that on just exactly how damage occurs in this game. The interesting, extra cool thing about damage in this game is the damage you receive is going to be based on the draw of a card deck, and every one of these cards is going to have a number on it, and the number on that card is going to signify where on your track that damaged card is going to go, and that's going to clog up your track. And as these cards go on your track, it's going to prevent you from using some of your abilities. So for example, if I have this one right here on the number 1 slot on my damage track right now, if I want to use a timer 1 card now, I can't because my 1 slot is now clogged up. So now I have to put it over my 2 slot, which means that card is going to take longer to get back in my hand. Additionally, if this time slot, this card slot ever gets filled up with too many wounds, things are going to be really, really troublesome for our heroes. But not only that, an extra very cool mechanic is we all like to modify difficulty when we play games, don't we? Some of us want our games to be a little bit easier because we enjoy the story. Some of us just love when a game gets really brutal or very challenging. You know, depends on your player group. Well, some games are like everybody in the play group must play on hard mode, everybody must play on easy mode. No, let's take that mechanic one step forward because every single player decides on their own individual level how difficult they want to make the game. So if you want to play the game in easy mode, when you take damage, this is the effect that's going to occur for you. If you want to play the game on medium difficulty, these 2 effects are going to happen every time this card is played on you. If you want to play it on a really hard mode, yep, all 3 of these effects are what's going to occur to you, and you get to choose your own individual difficulty level. So if you have a person who's joining your table who's really good at these kind of games, they went through Gloomhaven, beat the entire campaign without even breaking a sweat, no problems for them. They can play this game on hard difficulty where everybody else at the table is going, well, I'm not quite as good at this game, so let me go ahead and play this on the easier difficulty because I'm just here for the story. You get your hard mode, I get my easy mode, and both of us are really, really happy. Next up, every one of our hands of cards that we're going to get, we are going to modify these cards as we're playing the game because we get to play a legacy style game. We get to evolve our heroes, and we're going to permanently evolve these heroes as they go through this campaign. And yes, our heroes can be killed, so be very, very careful, because as we fail missions, we're going to start accruing scars. If we get too many scars, our hero is going to be permanently dead. And if you want to continue the campaign as a player, you need to pick another hero and continue the campaign with the rest of your friends. Remember, this is a 1 to 4 player game, which means it's going to be 1 to 4 heroes on the table. And, you know, if your friends drop out, the rules are amended there because the game does balance. I'll cover that in just a second. Let's go back to leveling up our heroes. As we level up our heroes, we're going to gain extra abilities, and these abilities are going to be affiliated with our cards. For example, if I want to get an extra red ability, I'm going to peel off a sticker, and then I can add that red ability to one of my cards on the red slot. And that means that every time I play that specific card that I add that special ability to, that card is now more powerful. I have evolved my character how I wanted to evolve my character, not based on some tree that some designer decided. I get to level up my hero and control my hero's destiny. Destiny is a sci-fi game. You know that always goes together. But I get to evolve my hero's destiny how I want to, modify my hero and play this game the way I want. Through this legacy game that plays out, well, about 40 missions. Every single mission is going to take about an hour to an hour and a half. But there's about 70 missions in the total game, and it's impossible to see the entire game through one playthrough. So this is a game that comes with 20 heroes, multiple different paths as you go through the game, and there's going to be a desire for you to go back and play the game again. So even though it's billed as a legacy game, this isn't going to be one of those legacy games that are one and done, such as Pandemic or anything like that. This is going to be one of those legacy games where you're going to want to play through it to see the multiple different story paths. Again, that kind of takes that pedigree from the game I mentioned earlier of Role Player. If you ever played Role Player, you understand as you play through the game Role Player, you're going to play through the game and your decisions are going to make permanent changes to how you're playing through the game, and you can't go back. If something occurs, you're stuck with that for the rest of the storyline. And this takes that pedigree and evolves that even more in a game that has a lot more storylines, a lot more cool stuff. And yeah, I said it before, this is basically takes the coolness from Mass Effect and throws it onto a board game. Now, the basic flow of the game is that on a player's turn, they're going to take a couple actions and they're going to play cards out on the table. And these very simple cards are going to do different things, such as moving around. They're going to be used to attack. They're going to be used to interact because, yeah, taking that little bit of that space theme, you get to interact with the player board. Maybe you're going to crack codes, maybe you're going to do various different things as you're fighting off the enemy AI, and that's really the cool thing, because I'm going to cover that AI in just a little second here. So basically on a player's turn, they're going to play down a card, and if that card tells them put it on board in time slot 2, it's going to go in time slot 2, and then they're going to roll a die, and that die is going to give them a bonus on the power of that card. So again, the dice are a positive. You always want to roll the dice in this game because they're always going to do something good for you. They're going to give you options. Options are always a fantastic thing in a board game, because the more options you have, the more you want to play the game. So you're basically going to be playing these cards. These dice are going to give you bonuses. You can do various things, such as, well, maybe we're just going to interact with a door here. Maybe we're going to go in front of this computer terminal here and we're going to play a card which is going to allow us to hack that terminal. Then when we hack that terminal, we're going to draw some tokens out of the bag, and we're trying to play kind of like a matching game because we got to get certain tokens of a certain color. If we succeed in getting those tokens of a correct color, we're going to hack that terminal. If we fail to do so, we're going to work on our progress towards that terminal using some really interesting, cool mechanics while we're having to worry about the AI controlling these enemies that are coming out on the board and doing the various different things. Because here's the next really interesting thing about the game is the AI of the game. Every time you play the game, you're going to have a set AI that's going to be set out on the board based on the map, based on the rules, based on the storyline as you go, and maybe, just maybe, possibly based on the decisions you made on prior missions. But this AI is going to tell you exactly how the enemies are going to interact every single turn when they take their action. For example, if the AI is currently set to automated attack, I'm going to look at it and say that they're going to go after the nearest player. Or maybe they're going to go after the last player activated, or maybe they're just going to deal 1 damage to all adjacent players. Again, we're going to follow an if-then kind of scenario for all the AI, which is a really nice, cool thing. It feels a little quicker, a little cleaner. We can kind of anticipate and kind of plan a little bit better. But as the game goes through and as the scenarios evolve, the AI is going to change because we're going to go from the yellow side to the red side or something like that. Or the AI just may completely change 100% to something that's completely different because maybe we're going to go hack the terminal. They're going to go from standby guard to full out attack. And they're going to come charging at us based on the AI and how the game is going to play out. So we're going to go through these missions. We're going to solve these scenarios, and our decisions and our successes and our failures are going to affect how the storyline is going to evolve. Maybe failing a mission is not going to be the end for us. Maybe it's just going to change how the story is going to evolve, how it's going to change, and how it's going to pan out for us. We're going to go through the scenarios. We're going to get our own ship. Oh, yes, we do. This is a space game. We get our own ship. And matter of fact, a really nice, cool thing about this game is your ship is going to be part of the box. So when you start off the scenarios, your heroes may be inside of the ship, and then they may have to access one of these corridors or these derelict ships, or maybe we're attacking a space station or something like that. We're going to have to come in there and go in there and do various different missions. You've seen it before. If you ever played games like Mass Effect, or if you played any really good sci-fi games, you've seen the things that we're going to deal with here. It's basically a dungeon crawler in space with lots of cool things, with decisions that matter, going through this long campaign-based game with legacy components that are going to evolve throughout these approximately 40 missions you're going to play, giving you anywhere from 40 to 60 hours of gameplay per playthrough this legacy game, which is definitely going to be one you're going to play more than once. This is one of those games you're probably going to play through 2 or 3 times just to make sure you see all the storylines, all the enjoyment, and all the greatness of this game. Now, there's just been a quick overview of the game of Rogue Angels, and this video is just part of a video series. If you want to learn how to play the game, see some sample gameplay where I'm going to actually have 2 separate gameplay videos. The first one is going to be kind of like a prologue just to give you a rough idea of how the mechanics play. The second playthrough video is going to show you a lot more of the gameplay, the interaction, how we're going to interact with all these things, these terminals, these enemies, and how we're going to try to fight through and complete these missions. And then I'm going to give you my final, let's just call it a preview video instead of a full review, where I'm going to talk about the game, talk about the mechanics, and see and explain to you what we're seeing right now. Can't give you a full review of the game because it's a game that's still in prototype, but from everything I'm seeing, this is a game that I'm extremely excited for. This is a game that's going to take Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion, and classic Gloomhaven itself, games I both greatly enjoy, mixes it with role-player adventure to create this really phenomenal game that I'm extremely excited to play. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this video series. If you have any comments or questions, make sure you leave them down in the YouTube comments down below. I will definitely get to them as quickly as I can. And also feel free to email me off the shelf board game reviews. That's otsbgr@gmail.com. Do my best to answer your email as quickly as I can. If you enjoy this content, if you enjoy the content I put out there, think about supporting the channel over on Patreon. Just $1 on tip jar can help me cover my costs, help keep the content coming out there strong for you every single month. If you enjoy this video, if you enjoy this video series, click that like button, click that subscribe button, and as always, thanks for watching.